When most people look at a bag of chips or a box of crackers, they only see a snack. Something quick, something light, something that satisfies a craving. But what hides behind that packaging is far from harmless. The truth is, many of the snacks lining grocery store shelves are created not with your health in mind, but with one goal: to keep you coming back for more. And to achieve that, companies fill them with ingredients that slowly, silently, and powerfully work against your body. Hidden inside that crunchy bite are refined oils that fuel inflammation in every corner of your system. These oils are cheap, they preserve shelf life, and they give a pleasant texture, but they are disastrous for your heart, your arteries, and even your brain. Each time you snack, your body responds with stress and inflammation, and while you don't feel it right away, the damage builds quietly, like a storm brewing in the background. Over time, that invisible inflammation contributes to fatigue, weight gain, high blood pressure, and diseases that seem to appear out of nowhere. Then there are the additives. Artificial colors, artificial flavors, preservatives, and enhancers are sprinkled into these products not to nourish you but to manipulate your senses. They make the chip look brighter, the cracker taste richer, and the smell irresistible. Your brain is tricked into believing you need more, even though your body is crying out for real nutrients. And while you're busy enjoying the crunch, those additives confuse your natural hunger signals, disrupt your hormones, and can even affect your mood and focus. You think you're just having a snack, but you're actually swallowing a carefully engineered formula designed to make you want another serving and then another. Salt is another hidden danger. While it may seem small, the reality is staggering. Crackers and chips are some of the highest sources of sodium in the modern diet. It's not the little pinch of salt you add at home, it's a tidal wave of sodium, concentrated and relentless. That constant flood quietly raises your blood pressure, forcing your heart to work harder every single day. High blood pressure doesn't hurt at first. It doesn't announce itself. But in the background, it chips away at your health, setting the stage for heart attacks, strokes, and kidney disease. What feels like a light snack becomes a heavy burden on your body's most vital systems. And let's not forget the refined flours. Most crackers are stripped of their natural fiber, their vitamins, and their minerals, leaving behind nothing but empty starch. These refined carbs spike your blood sugar and then drop it quickly, leaving you tired, hungry, and craving more. This roller coaster tricks you into eating far more than you ever planned. It's not your willpower that's weak. It's the design of the food itself. The cycle is intentional: eat, crash, crave, repeat. All the while your body is missing the essential nutrients it needs to thrive. When you put all of these elements together, refined oils, hidden additives, excess sodium, empty starches, you get a perfect storm of destruction disguised as food. What's worse is that these snacks are marketed as light, baked, or even healthy, making you believe you're making a smarter choice. But behind the slogans and the glossy packaging lies a product designed to harm you slowly. Each handful may feel like nothing, but over weeks, months, and years, the impact is undeniable. What looks like convenience is actually a trap. What looks harmless is the very thing holding you back from the health, energy, vitality you deserve. Awareness is a kind of power that most people underestimate when it comes to food. For years, many of us eat whatever is placed in front of us without giving it a second thought. We trust packaging, slogans, and labels that promise health, lightness, or convenience. But the moment you begin to see beyond the surface, the moment you recognize what's truly inside those crackers and chips, something shifts. Suddenly, you're no longer a passive consumer, you're an active participant in your own health. Awareness doesn't just change how you shop, it changes how you live, how you feel, and how you shape your future. When you know which snacks are harming you, you reclaim a piece of control that you may have given away without realizing it. Think about how many decisions we make without thinking, how often we reach for the same brand or the same bag out of habit. These automatic choices are the ones that shape us the most, because they pile up over days and years. Awareness interrupts that cycle. It creates a pause, a moment where you ask yourself, is this really good for me? Is this really worth what it will do to my body? That moment of clarity is where transformation begins. No crash diet, no quick fix. No temporary plan can match the power of sustained awareness. Because once you know, you can't unknow. Once you see the truth about what certain foods are doing, it changes your relationship with them forever. Awareness empowers you to resist manipulation. The food industry spends billions designing packaging that makes snacks look fun, innocent, even healthy. They use buzzwords like whole grain, low fat, or natural to lure you in, even when the ingredient list tells a very different story. Without awareness, those words work. They convince you to buy, to trust, to consume. But with awareness, the spell is broken. You begin to see through the marketing tricks and flashy colors. You look past the front label and flip the package over, straight to the ingredients. Suddenly, you can spot the refined oils, the long chemical names, the unnecessary sugar, and in that moment, you're no longer fooled. Taken back your ability to choose based on truth, not manipulation. This kind of power creates freedom. Instead of feeling trapped in cycles of guilt, regret, confusion, you become confident in your decisions. You don't waste energy wondering why you feel tired, why you keep gaining weight, or why your cravings never stop. You understand the cause, and with that understanding comes the freedom to change the outcome. Awareness lifts the fog and shows you a clear path forward. You stop being controlled by hidden ingredients, and you start being guided by your own wisdom. That freedom is priceless, because it doesn't just affect what you eat, it ripples into your energy, your focus, your mood, and even your self-respect. Most importantly, awareness reminds you that your health is in your hands. Too often we wait for a doctor's warning, a health scare, or a sudden wake-up call to take action. But awareness is like a gentle alarm ringing long before the crisis. It tells you where the danger lies, what to avoid, what direction to take. It allows you to act now, not later. Every time you choose to avoid those harmful crackers and chips, you're exercising that power. You're proving to yourself that you're awake, that you're paying attention, and that you value your life enough to make conscious choices. Awareness is not about fear, it's about strength. It's about looking directly at the truth and refusing to be blinded by convenience or clever marketing. Once you have it, you'll never go back to blind consumption again. You'll know exactly what to avoid and, more importantly, you'll know why. That why becomes your armor, your motivation, and your guide, protecting you from choices that once held you captive. With awareness, you are no longer eating on autopilot. You are living awake, alive, and in control. For many people, the hardest part about giving up unhealthy crackers and chips is the belief that they'll be left with nothing to enjoy. The fear of missing out, of never having that satisfying crunch or salty flavor again, keeps them reaching for the same products even when they know the risks. But the truth is, not all snacks are created equal. While most are designed with cheap oils, artificial flavors, and excessive sodium, there are safe alternatives that prove you don't have to choose between enjoyment and health. These options are not only free from many of the hidden dangers found in mainstream brands, but they also provide a sense of trust. You can grab them without guilt, without second guessing, because you know they're not quietly working against your body. The existence of safe alternatives is a reminder that the problem is not the snack itself, but the way it's been engineered by companies that care more about profit than people. When you discover brands that use cleaner ingredients, healthier oils, and natural seasonings, you realize snacking doesn't have to be destructive. Instead of consuming empty calories that leave you tired and craving more, you're fueling your body with something that tastes good and aligns with your health goals. That shift is powerful, because it removes the false belief that you have to either suffer without snacks or continue harming yourself with toxic ones. The middle ground exists, and it's more satisfying than the cycle of guilt most people live in. Safe alternatives also play a crucial psychological role. When you know there are options you can trust, it becomes easier to let go of the dangerous ones. Imagine opening your pantry and not being surrounded by foods that tempt you into self-sabotage, but instead seeing items you actually feel proud to eat. That environment changes your mindset. Instead of snacking being an act of regret, it becomes an act of self-respect. You're no longer fighting cravings with sheer willpower. You're satisfying them in a smarter way. The crunch is still there, the flavor is still there, but the weight of guilt is gone. That mental relief is just as important as the physical health benefits. These safer snacks also set an example for families, especially children who are learning eating habits that will stay with them for life. When a parent chooses a clean alternative instead of a toxic brand, they're sending a powerful message: our health matters, our choices matter, and we don't have to settle for what's harmful. Kids learn by imitation. When they grow up watching healthier habits in action, they naturally carry them forward. Safe alternatives don't just protect your body today, they plant seeds for stronger, healthier generations tomorrow. And let's not overlook the empowerment that comes from knowledge. Knowing that there are trustworthy brands among the sea of unhealthy ones gives you confidence in your decisions. You no longer feel overwhelmed by the endless shelves in the grocery store. Instead of being paralyzed by choices, you can walk straight to the options that align with your goals. That confidence grows every time you make the swap. It becomes easier, more natural, and eventually automatic. What once felt like a sacrifice now feels like freedom. The idea that you can still enjoy snacking without risking your health changes the entire conversation around food. It shows that health doesn't mean deprivation, and wellness doesn't mean boredom. It proves that there's always a better way if you're willing to look for it and commit to it. The two safe options are not just replacements for the bad ones, they're symbols of a new standard. They represent the fact that you're no longer willing to settle for what's convenient at the expense of your body, choosing better because you deserve better. And in that choice, you find both satisfaction and strength. Every decision you make with food might seem small, but the truth is those little choices are constantly shaping the bigger picture of your health. One handful of chips here, one serving of crackers there doesn't feel like much in the moment. But when those habits are repeated day after day, they add up to powerful consequences that can either strengthen your body or slowly tear it down. This is why it's not just about one snack, it's about the pattern. Removing harmful foods and replacing them with safer options is not a minor adjustment, it's a change that compounds over time, rewriting the story of your energy, your health, and even your confidence. Most people underestimate the power of repetition. If you think about it, the foods you eat most often are the ones that influence your body the most. Chips and crackers may not be a full meal, but they're snacks people reach for consistently. That consistency is what makes them so dangerous when they're unhealthy, because the damage builds silently. The oils inflame your system every day, the sodium pressures your heart every day, the additives confuse your body every day. Doesn't take long before those harmless snacks start reshaping your weight, your mood, and your overall vitality. On the flip side, swapping them for safe alternatives creates a different kind of consistency. Each better choice begins healing instead of harming, restoring instead of depleting. This is why small changes matter more than extreme ones. You don't need to transform your entire diet overnight or live in fear of every food. What matters is direction. If you cut out just the worst offenders and consistently replace them with something better, you begin to shift your entire lifestyle. Every crunch of a safer snack is not just fuel. It's proof to yourself that you're moving towards something healthier. That shift builds momentum. The more you make good choices, the more natural it becomes, until the old habits don't even feel appealing anymore. Think of it like compound interest in a bank account. Every deposit you make might feel small on its own, but over time the total grows into something life-changing. Food works the same way. A better choice today may not seem dramatic, but weeks later, months later, it creates real change. Energy begins to rise, cravings begin to settle, your body feels lighter, and your mind feels clearer. You may not notice it overnight, but just like the damage from bad snacks, the benefits of better ones build quietly until suddenly you realize how much progress you've made. Replacing harmful snacks with safe alternatives also creates a ripple effect in other parts of your life. When you're eating cleaner, your energy is more stable, which makes it easier to exercise, to stay focused at work, and to keep your mood steady. Those improvements make it easier to keep making good choices, creating a cycle that works in your favor instead of against you. What started as one small change in snacks becomes the foundation for bigger lifestyle improvements. This is how transformation really happens. Not through perfection, but through consistent progress. Every bite becomes a vote for the kind of future you want. If you continue choosing the chips and crackers filled with harmful ingredients, you're casting daily votes for fatigue, weight gain, and long-term illness. But if you swap them for safer, healthier options, you're casting votes for strength, longevity, and a body that supports the life you want to live. Each choice is an opportunity, and the more of those opportunities you claim, the more powerful your results become. What feels small in the moment is actually the foundation of your entire well-being. Every action you take today is shaping the version of yourself you will meet tomorrow. The snacks you reach for, the habits you repeat, the decisions you make without thinking all create a future that either empowers you or weighs you down. When you grab that bag of chips or box of crackers filled with oils, sodium, and additives, it doesn't just affect your afternoon, it affects your long-term health. You may not notice the impact right away because the damage is slow and silent, but your future self will feel it in the form of fatigue, illness, or regret. At the same time, when you choose to avoid harmful snacks and replace them with safer options, that choice may not seem dramatic in the moment, but it builds into energy, strength, and resilience that your future self will thank you for. The powerful truth is that your body keeps track of everything. It remembers the patterns you repeat, the foods you give it, and the lifestyle you live. It is constantly responding and adapting, even if you don't see it on the surface. Years from now, you'll be living with the consequences of today's decisions, whether they were made with awareness or with neglect. The future you, whether stronger or weaker, healthier or sicker, is being built right now with every bite, every sip, every choice. That's why it's so important to recognize that your health is not random. It is a reflection of your patterns. Those patterns are created by what you allow yourself to consume daily. Too often, people act as if they are powerless in the face of disease or decline, waiting until a doctor delivers bad news before taking their health seriously. But the truth is, power exists long before that moment. It exists in the snack aisle, your pantry, in the choices you make when no one else is watching. Your future self is depending on you to care enough to say no to the foods that silently harm you. That version of you is waiting, hoping that you will protect it from unnecessary suffering. And when you do, you're not just avoiding illness, you're building energy, vitality, and a body that supports the life you want to live. There's a kind of accountability that comes with realizing your future self is watching. Every time you resist the temptation of unhealthy chips and crackers, you're proving something to yourself, that you care, that you value your health, that you are willing to make small sacrifices today to live fully tomorrow. Each time you fall into old habits, you're handing your future self a burden it doesn't deserve. This perspective changes the way you see decisions. It's no longer about quick cravings or momentary satisfaction. It's about respect for the person you are becoming. This accountability is not about guilt or fear. It's about motivation and love for yourself. Imagine being able to look back years from now and feel proud of the choices you made, knowing you protected yourself from harm, knowing you gave your body the best chance at thriving. That sense of pride is worth far more than the few seconds of pleasure that come from eating something toxic. Your future self deserves that pride. It deserves the health, the energy, and the freedom that come from the consistent decisions you make now. Every time you walk away from the foods that work against you, you're walking toward a stronger version of yourself. Every time you reach for something safer, you're proving that you can control your destiny instead of being controlled by cravings or clever marketing. It may feel like a small act in the present, but in truth it is a promise to your future. And the version of you waiting down the road, healthier and more vibrant, will be grateful for the discipline, the awareness, and the care you chose today.